In a world where two short-term rental bros come together.
What?
Not in that way, bro. There's a podcast of truly epic proportions where we talk about all things short-term rental and shoot the shit along the way. Welcome to the Co-Host Bros Podcast. Here are your hosts, Matt Codd and Austin Spitz.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Co-Host Bros Podcast. My name is Matt Codd, and I'm here with Austin Spitz, the one and only. Today we have an awesome rock star guest, Caleb Shore. Caleb has about 50 listings. He just opened a brokerage where they help you invest in STRs, sell your STRs, and also wow, bloopers reel, everybody. He also offers revenue management service as well. Probably because I spelled revenue management service quickly and incorrectly, probably because I was late. So I was late to the party, so I'll apologize publicly. But anyway, so what's going on, Caleb? Welcome to the show. Sorry I fucked up your intro, but hey, everybody will still get to know you anyway. So
appreciate it, fellas. Super excited to be here. No, I love the rawness. I know we were chatting a little before. I like how you just kind of wing it a little bit, see where the conversation goes. It feels more authentic than some of these other podcasts where it's like super scripted. But yeah, I'm super excited to be here, guys.
No script. I'm out of script. What's up, Austin? What's going on with you, bud?
Not much, man. Not much. Just it's like you guys. Happy to be here, but I was a little bit on time, I think. So, but sorta, yeah. Well, we're all kind of late, but yeah, man. Let's just jump straight into it. For the people that don't know you, Caleb, what is your know you're a property manager? What's your portfolio look like? What market are you in? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. Mostly East Coast. I'm in Charlotte. That's where 35 of our full service clients are at, all local here. We got a small team here. We do some co-hosting across the U.S., Poconos, North Georgia mountains, some beach markets. We recently started to do more of the revenue management. I didn't think we were super special. I still don't, but we were having super high average length of stays, like 8 to 12 nights, which is kind of unheard of in the short-term rental industry. And people started asking like, dude, how are you doing this? Like I've got my Friday and Saturday booked and that's it. So we found some pretty cool things that we can definitely get into, share for your audience. So the revenue management's more of a newer thing. We've got, 7, 8 clients there. And then the brokerage is something, one of our big goals. You can't see it, but I got our 2025 goals back here. Full service brokerage where we'll help investors find, purchase, and manage short-term rentals.
That's crazy. So how long have you been doing this for? How long have you been into real estate for?
Me and my business partner met. We used to work in IT. I was telling Austin pre-show, I've got a technology background. My business partner does as well, which is not really common in this industry. Kind of gives us a leg up with the tech side. But we met at an IT company. He had a rental that he was house hacking on. He ended up moving out, turning it into a long-term rental. I was like, dude, you need to Airbnb this thing. It was 2019, late 2019. Finally, he had a terrible tenant, had like a cash for keys type situation. He called me up one day. He was like, dude, what is this? What is this Airbnb stuff? Like, how can I do that? So we ended up launching his with no agreement, no LLC, completely had no idea what we were doing. March 2020. So it took us 3 months to furnish the place, which now I know it was way too long. So we launched pre-COVID. I don't know if March 2020 rings a bell, but it was madness. Booking. We launched, I think it was March 5th or something. We were like, oh crap, this is just terrible timing. Spent 10 grand in furnishing. This is a 4-bed single family home. Turns out people were still traveling. Couple months, it came back. people were still traveling. As you guys know, it was a lot of people from Georgia, New York, California, Florida coming up, and they just wanted to stay. They just want to get out of the house. They were like, I want to work from home. So we saw very early on, we added a home office, upgraded the internet, like added a nice desk chair, monitors to kind of cater towards that work from home person. So at the end of that year, we were tripling his mortgage, and we were like, okay, this is still a viable business model through, what we think, at the time it was pretty scary, but now it's like, yeah, it's just COVID. So that was kind of the launching point of it. We grew slowly on purpose. We had so that was all of 2020, 2021, we had like 4 clients. 2022, we went to like 15. And then now we're at 35, 37, somewhere in there. And now probably 90% of the deals that people want us to manage are not good fits for where we're at. We almost say no to pretty much every deal. Our target house right now is a single family home, no HOA, no restrictions. Obviously, it's got to make at least 60 grand gross. Anything other than that, we won't take it on. So in Charlotte, not a vacation market whatsoever. We're trying to tailor towards that like more high end luxury property. But Charlotte is a pretty good market for STRs. It's obviously not a beach or a mountain market, but we've got a really strong demand with insurance claims, relocation, things like that keep us doing pretty well. So that's kind of a couple minute rundown of what got us here, what got me here. We got a small team here in Charlotte, couple full-time VAs that help us do some admin work, but yeah, man.
So I've got a question off of that. Like so you're doing you have property management clients and you have co-host clients as well, right?
Yep.
So what is your long-term outlook on that? Do you think that you are looking at consolidating to one service and only doing one service really well, or do you want to continue to offer the co-hosting method? Because I get this question a lot asked from people that are just starting. Should I do co-hosting? Should I do property management? And why? And you can go back and forth all day. But I guess my question is how do you want to do that with your business? Just out of curiosity. Like you want to keep both programs? Because I feel like the billing gets kind of difficult. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It is, man. The full service, it's a beast. It is very hard to scale. We have hired and fired multiple people. We started with all contractors here. We've moved to multiple full-time employees, but it is a very, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's a very hard business model to scale full service. The co-hosting is much easier. We have the onboarding is like half the time from a full service to a co-host client. The accounting and bookkeeping is that's non-existent in the co-host model, the way that we've structured it, because honestly, it sucks. To answer your question, I think long-term, more of the co-host model. It's just right now, to kind of put it in perspective, it takes us about 20 hours from start to finish to get a full service property up and running. 20 hours. That's a long time. For co-hosting, it's like 5 hours. But the operational strain on the back end is the piece where a lot of people just don't understand it until you go through it over and over again. For us, realistically, like one full-time person can manage like 15 to 20-ish full service properties. The co-host, one VA could probably handle 30 because it's just a simpler business model. There's no bookkeeping, there's no accounting. We don't handle the maintenance on the co-host model either. So we've just simply slimmed it down to getting them booked, marketing it, and providing our like documentation with how to handle lockouts, how to handle squatters. Okay, this person wants early check-in. Should we allow it? So we handled all of that guest communications, and then the investor really just handles keeping the property up.
You're handling the cleaners still on the co-host side, right?
We give them like automated schedule. Like they have the, hey, we got to check out today. It's all automated on our end. But technically that's not our vendor. We're not handling them on the co-host side on purpose, to be honest with you.
So it's more like a evolve structure type deal. Okay. So that's cool. So what do you, so you're using, so you're required to have a broker's license where you're at in Charlotte to do trust accounting.
Yep.
So how are you doing your trust accounting? Are you doing it manually yourself, or are you using a software like a platform, or?
We do use VRP. My business partner is our accountant. We've got a remote bookkeeper that helps us categorize transactions. We use QuickBooks and VRP. VR platform is a new addition to our tech stack. We added maybe 6 months ago, and it's a freaking
saved you a lot of time.
But a lot of freaking gray hair and lost hair in those last 6 months.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty tough. I mean, I used Get Clearing, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to set up too. But once I had it set up, dude, it was like it's just flying. I'm like, oh, push these buttons here, post. Oh, there's your owner statement right there, done. Like, it was just really easy. So like the setup, it's hard, and I think that's why with those softwares they make you pay extra for onboarding, because they have to actually physically have somebody onboard you. And then, I don't know about you, but my guy went so fucking fast, I don't even know what he was doing. I'm like, okay, that's what I want you to do. And he's like, oh, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. And my business partner is not an accountant. He just happened to lead into that side of the business versus I'm more of the marketing and sales, luckily. So yeah, I mean, our softwares like that, I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'll pay whatever to get it onboarded. Just help me set it up correctly.
Yeah. Yep. Just set it up correctly and make it easy and streamlined for me. But that's cool. Yeah, that saves you a lot more time then too. But then now you have time with your owner statements for like co-hosting, right? So are you automating that in some way?
Right now, no. We use Hospitable for co-host and Guesty Pro for our full service clients. We've segmented them on purpose. But right now, no, we haven't implemented the owner statements in Hospitable. I know it's a new feature. I've demoed it, but we haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Right now, we just export it to Excel. 10% plus 150 for software a month. Send along with the payment link. So it's done in 5 minutes for that one, which I love. It's super easy.
It's awesome. So tell us more about your new brokerage, what it does, how it can help somebody. Tell us your excitement about it, because you were pretty excited when you were telling us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys get this question a lot, but we would have so many deals come our way, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my realtor said this is a great Airbnb. This is a great area. I'll make $1,500 a month cash flow." And I'm like, "Who told you this? Like this property sucks. Like you should sell it." And they were like, "What?" And we started telling like it was probably 10 properties in a row. I was like, why are you guys buying? Like, who's telling you this? So I think there's a big difference in realtors and realtors that understand STR, a huge difference. I've only found one in our market outside of us that actually understands both. And I think the hard part is the revenue, obviously, using AirDNA, Rabu, key data, all these tools they're hard to really quantify, right? And then also the expenses on the STR side. Those are easy. We've got formulas built out for utilities based on square footage, lawn care. That's easy. I think estimating the revenue, because it varies greatly. You've got a mom and pop operator that does 40 grand a year with no amenities. Right next door, you've got a professional host that's using price labs, using dynamic pricing. They've got a hot tub. They've got a pool. They've got great design that's doing 120. And AirDNA is like, I don't know what to do with both of these numbers. These are right beside each other. So it takes a level of like just knowing what you're looking at versus long-term rentals. Those are easy. All that data is public. It's on the MLS. It's like, okay, here's 4 properties on the same block that rent for $2,500 a month. Great. That's easy. The short-term rental is the wild card. So long story short, we kept getting clients were like, hey, my realtor told me this is a great investment. You know, it's a 3-2 in this area. I'm like, okay, what amenities does it have? All right. You know, no hot tub, no pool. Like, how's the design? They're like, what does that mean? Like, I'm just going to Facebook Marketplace and IKEA the design. I'm like, So over and over, we kept hearing that. And we're like, how do we solve this problem? Right. The first step to how we thought solving this problem was finding a broker who understood it. That was where, you know, we probably spent all of last year trying to find a broker that just got it. And we found one. We probably interviewed 25 and they all sucked. This one guy was a rock star. And I'll pass his info to anybody in Charlotte, North Carolina mountains, does a lot of deals there. But the problem was it's relying on one person that's not in-house. It's kind of risky. Like that guy, I would happily give our clients numbers before we started the brokerage in-house. But it just got to a point where I'm like, kind of begrudgingly got into it to solve the problem. I knew it was a huge issue, and I know that other investors are having the same issue. So we're like, how can we do it better? So our area manager used to work for Open Door. He's a broker. So he's our kind of foot in the door on the brokerage side. We launched it probably like a soft launch, maybe 30 days ago. And we've got 2 investors under contract already. So we've got 6 more investors like pre-approved, ready to pull the trigger. So it's off to a really good start, but I'm kind of hitting the brakes a little bit just because it's something new for us. I want to do it well. I don't want to, you know, go 0 to 100 and screw something up. So, that's something I'm super pumped about in 2025.
Nice, man. So are you like, when you're doing this, run me through it. Like, how does it look? I'm an investor. I come to you. I'm looking to buy. Are you helping me? You're helping me source the property and everything like that and find the deal. And then you're also helping me run numbers to make sure that my numbers at least calculate on the back end. Now, is there any, not that you would intentionally do this, is there any legality or gray area where it's like, hey, we're the realtor on the deal, but we're also like going to try and manage it at the end of the day? Like, is your end goal to just sell them a house and also get the management contract? Or can you double dip that way, or how does that work?
You can. Yeah, you can definitely double dip. The goal is to help the client. That's like in the end. If they have a manager, great. We can source the deal, make sure it cash flows, give it to that manager. Easy peasy. We make money on the front end. We don't get a management client, which whatever. I mean, if they're happy with somebody else, cool, no problem. Most of the clients that are looking for investments, their second question is, do you have a manager? Do you trust somebody in this market? Obviously, we've done that. So the way that I think about it is like, you've got this whole process from start to finish. The property manager is at the very end of the deal. You got to find it. You got to purchase it. You got to finance it. You got to furnish it. And then you find the manager. So we were like, how can we insert ourselves more on the front end to solve these issues that we're getting handed at the finish line? And then it's too late. So we were like, furnishing or sourcing the deal on the front end just makes the most sense. So to answer your question, ideally we would double dip. We would help them buy it, obviously get the commission on the front end, and then also a management client on the back end. But it works both ways. If they have, the more common scenario is they have a realtor that they like, but chances are you guys know, like, they don't know short-term rentals. So they're going to probably give them an investment that sucks. So what we've done, we've built a software that, I don't want to go too much into it. It's similar to like, I don't know, STRIQ. I don't know if you guys use that one.
Actually, yeah, we can get you a discount. We're doing a live with them in about a week and a half.
Nice. Okay, cool. So whenever we first we built this super beta product in like 2022 and just used it for me and my business partner because we're buying properties as well. It was just a Google Excel spreadsheet. We hired a dev for like $2,000 to just build it out and underwrite these deals at bulk. Now it's like a web app. We've spent probably way too much money on it, but we essentially export everything from the MLS. You can do off market deals as well. We plug it into our software. It runs, however many properties you import and sorts the highest cash on cash return to the top. So if you're Austin, let's say you're buying this place cash, right? You get 100% down payment. Your cash on cash is going to be different than Matt. Let's say you're financing it 15%, 25%, whatever it is. Those numbers are wildly different, but we're able to help both of you guys and underwrite these things with a click of a button. So that's been a super big tool for us. I don't really know if we'll ever sell it externally. We're just using it internally to fuel our growth. So that's been super, super exciting. Me and my business partner, Riley, I mentioned earlier, I've got a tech background. So kind of a unique advantage in that aspect, which has helped us in this way with finding deals, because it's really just a basic calculation. It's not too difficult.
So with other softwares out there, what made you create your own?
I couldn't find it. So we started this probably in 2021, 22. Like we're like, there has to be a solution out here for finding properties quickly. Over and over again, like I'd never heard of STRIQ until like maybe 6 months ago, to be very honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. B&B Calc, I offered to buy that software like a year and a half ago. And Jeremy he wanted an astronomical amount. I'm like, all right, I'll just build it. So that's kind of why we did it. We couldn't find it, to be honest with you. I mean, I searched high and low, and I don't know if it didn't exist or they just weren't running ads or marketing very well for me to find it. And so that's kind of why we built it in-house. Right now it works very well for what we need it. If we were to ever sell it or, release it to the public, we'd need to do like phase 3, phase 4. But we're using it in-house right now.
I think they were relatively new at the time. I mean, Matt Sanderson and his team, like they put a lot of work into it. Even since I saw it, last year when we were there in February, I think since the conference last year, it was, it's like 10 times what it was. So yeah, if you want to see more about it, tune into our live on the 29th.
Yeah.
29th, I think.
Yeah. And actually I might not for the sake of like seeing what they're doing. I'm curious what else is out there. Like what other people are doing. Like this is, man, I love this freaking industry. Like there's so much opportunity to do it's a playground right now. I don't believe there is competition. Like I would talk to those guys and show exactly what we're building. Hopefully they would do the same. Like there's no such thing as competition. There's money to be made everywhere. Like it's crazy, man. You can do anything here.
Yeah, for sure. Austin, did I interrupt you? I apologize.
Oh no, you're good. I don't even remember what I was going to say, but yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Like you're the value add to where I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. They think that they just get a realtor because everybody knows 15 different realtors and they want to buy a short-term rental, but they're not necessarily going about it the right way because you need to use a realtor that actually is educated on this stuff. And I don't think people understand the value and the importance of that, because you're making probably for a lot of people the biggest financial jump of your life, and you're trusting somebody that's sells primary residence for say. So if you have somebody that can really dial in the numbers, it's going to dictate whether you buy the house or not. And trusting someone to be like, hey, this is a bad deal, you're going to pay money every month to run this as a short-term rental. So I think that's crazy. And in my own experience, a lot of the realtors in my area, I would say generally all of them don't have. I don't think I have it dialed in as well as you do, where you have the formulas for the lawn and all this, but I can put performance together to the best of my ability to give them a decent range. And I pretty much know my market well enough to where I'm spot on. But what I know is like a lot of the realtors that are selling these homes, they have no clue.
No idea.
Yeah.
They just
So
guess.
that's crazy. Yeah. That's a tremendous value add. And I think it's like, if you, like they say, the riches are in the niches. So a lot of these realtors that are doing stuff like that, and they're making a lot of money because they're the one off that's like, hey, I also own a few I own and manage here. Like I'm an expert in the industry. And it's such a separator. I feel like just being able to do that. And there's so few people doing it. Like, but it comes down to the same thing that you said. It's like, it's wide open, dude. There's so much opportunity, right?
Yeah, it's like when you say that, I take it back. There's two people that I think are like pretty top notch. Tyler Kuhn is another one here in like the Asheville area. I haven't had a client from him. We've talked multiple times. I know a couple people on his team as well. It seems like they're doing a pretty dang good job with the underwriting, taking care of clients. They're obviously mainly focused in Asheville, which I know a little bit about Asheville. Like I could underwrite a property there, but it also takes a level of like knowing the city. Like Asheville, for example, there's restrictions. Like it depends on where you're at in Asheville, like inside or outside the city limits. Charlotte, like for example, doesn't have restrictions, but I know the west side of the city, if you go above like this street, don't leave your cars unlocked at night. You go down, obviously the purchase prices are higher, but it's just a completely different type area of the city. So you have to have a local knowledge as well, which most realtors do. That's not the hard part. It's just figuring out what amenities, what expenses are. Like for example, I know adding a hot tub will add 5 to 10 grand of gross revenue year one. So it's like, why not spend $6,000 on the hot tub? You'll get it back in the first year. Like that's a no brainer to me. I just added one at my property.
But things that they don't know though. So you might know if I go this street up that, okay, it's good. But you might know like if I go in this pocket, this is right next to where a lot of things happen that you don't really realize is happening. And I might be able to raise your revenue by like 20, 30 grand. So like, it's the same thing. Like for instance, in Houston, if I'm close to the NRG center or I'm close to the medical center or I'm close to energy corridor, it just depends. My revenue is going to shift like regardless, because depending on what I'm at location to, and people don't understand that. And then additionally with your, when you go and underwrite a property, especially in a metro area, you might take the numbers for AirDNA and come up with a property number, but you're not taking into account insurance bookings that you're talking about or midterms unless they put it into their PMS. So I'm good about that. If I take a midterm, I put it in my PMS, right, and hospitable in the calendar, and I put the price every month in there. I do that intentionally because I like better data. But if they don't put it in there and, Travelers Haven's just mailing them a check for $3,500, AirDNA is not going to know that. They're just going to know the calendar's blocked, so there's different things that that other people don't know. And, if you're looking for short-term rental in Charlotte, I mean, they should be calling you because, metro, especially if you're doing short-term rentals in vacation markets, metro markets are totally different. And, people think that, oh, well, I could just do the same shit. No, not really. You can't. It's not the same.
It's wildly different. We co-host in a couple like Poconos, one of the more competitive North Georgia mountains, like one of the more competitive markets. It is wildly different than like managing a property in Charlotte. It's just the booking trends are completely different. Like people are booking 12 months out versus in Charlotte, it's like 30 days out. So like,
and the avatars are all different too.
Yeah, it's just completely different. Which first co-host deal we got in a vacation market, like we had, maybe 28 properties in Charlotte at that time. I was like, oh yeah, I had the same thought. I'm like, oh, this can't be that much different than what we're doing now. It was wildly different. And we got kicked in the face for a good month. I'm like, what? Why are people not booking?
Yeah, why am I making all this money today and I'm not making any money next month? What's going on? Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, and the thing is, like, you talk about spur of the moment travel. I mean, you're going to get that in a metro area where people are just like, oh, you know what? I decided to go to Charlotte for the weekend because I'm going to go see a concert, or I'm going to go whatever, right? Ice skating. There's a million different reasons, you know, and you got corporate travelers on top of that. Corporate travelers don't go to the beach, you know, for months at a time. So, you know, you can think about those things. But if you have that knowledge, then that's going to help people, because there's probably people who are out there trying to buy houses in Charlotte for long-term rentals. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, you can make more than $200 a month if this is what you do, right? So that's just insane. I want to switch gears a little bit about your revenue management service. Like, okay, so it just seems like all your businesses are based on helping people, and that's what you want to do, is help people. Yep. So people just started asking you about revenue management, and then you're just like, screw it, I'm going to start a revenue management business. So how long ago did you start that, and how is that going?
I mean, it's probably been, I mean, realistically, less than a year, maybe 6 to 12 months ago. It's going well. And once again, it's not something we ever really advertise. We've been able to grow just through word of mouth. We've got some stuff coming in 2025 that we're going to be hitting the advertising pretty hard here in the next like couple months. But now it's all been word of mouth. We've taken care of our clients. I think we have lost maybe one client ever. We've probably fired 10 just because they're assholes or the property doesn't make sense anymore. But I think we've probably ever lost one client ever. So I'm not saying that to brag. I just say, like, if you care about the client and like legit do things with their best interest, you will have plenty of money, plenty of business to go around. But to answer your question, Matt, the revenue management is people I started posting content, you know, a couple of years ago, just kind of haphazardly. The past year, I took it a little more seriously, and I posted some of our stats of average length of stay, you know, ADR, occupancy rate across all of our full service management. 2023, we did 80%. I think we were at 85% occupancy across on average, every single unit that we took on. And that's pretty awesome. Like the average industry here is about 50%. So that's great. Occupancy is not all the metrics that you need to look at. Revenue is the number one metric. Occupancy is important, but if you're discounting stays and not making revenue, then occupancy is worthless. So we're able to increase occupancy. On average, we're like 85% occupied across the entire year, but we're also in like the 75th plus percentile of revenue for all of our properties. So if you take one of those by itself, like you have to equate both of them in there. So I started posting content about that about a year ago, just being super transparent, which still feels really weird when I talk about like how much money we make, what the occupancy is. It doesn't feel natural. But I had a lot of people sliding in my DMs like, dude, how are you doing this? Like, I can only get Friday and Saturday booked. Like, how are you getting 10 nights on average people staying? And I'm like, I don't know. I just force them to stay longer. Like, I won't accept a 2-night booking a month out. It just makes no sense. I'm going to lose money for that reservation. So we've kind of formalized this a little bit more with our internal process, but started posting it publicly. People started reaching out. I say all that to say it's going very well. I still feel like I'm a novice. Like I learned something this morning. You know, I was talking to one of our clients about his Poconos houses, and he was teaching me stuff. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. But it's such a new thing within this market that I think is super untapped, and it's pretty scalable. Like, we're putting together processes for our VAs to do a lot of the work. Right now, me and my business partner are meeting 3 times a week to look at revenue and, you know, make sure these places are optimized. But I think we could probably easily get to, you know, 30 clients by the year end.
That's awesome. So, like, how do you? This is a random one off. So, what do you use in regards to your tech stack? Do you require everybody to use the exact same tech stack? Purchase it through your management company, or do you just run the house the way it operates, or how do you manage that?
For which business model?
For property management for the houses that you guys manage.
Yeah. So full service, we use Guesty. Guesty, Asana for project management, Notion for our SOPs, Price Labs. I love Price Labs. What else do we use? Remote Lock. Those are the big ones. I think I mentioned
About
Guesty Pro.
Yeah, how about like for like door cameras and thermostats and
Yep.
smart locks?
Ring,
Yeah, go ahead.
ring for cameras. That has no limit on the management side. The billing sucks for Ring, but I think the product and how it's set up is the best out there. For like Google Home is terrible. You have max 5 Google account or 5 cameras on one Google account. So if you've got 20 properties, you need 4 Gmails, which is just not great for property managers. So Ring is the best one that I found there. Ecobee I've found to be the best thermostat. Nest suck. They were great back in like 2021 before Google bought them, but Google just wrecked it. And you talk to an HVAC tech, they'll probably tell you the same thing because Nest just throws the actual unit. It causes multiple issues. Don't get a Nest. Ecobee is probably my favorite thermostats, which I'd probably say a small portion of our properties actually have those. Schlage Encode for smart locks, or Yale Assure. I think those two are pretty comparable. We probably have 50-50 Schlage versus the Yale Assure. One thing for smart locks, one thing that we learned very quickly, get the one with a deadbolt backup key. Put the key in a lockbox at the property and then have a backup offsite because those things just die randomly. You'll have changed the batteries 2 weeks ago and they just go offline. And having backup codes as well is very important. Backup codes that never expire. A weird thing about the Schlags and the Augusts, if you have an expiration, as soon as it goes offline, those codes aren't available. But the static ones that are always, those can still be used, which doesn't make any sense. But we have like 3 backup codes that never expire. Worst case scenario, we can give those to the guest. That doesn't work. You got the lockbox on site as well with the deadbolt lock. What other tech stack, Austin? You thermostats, locks.
I think Yales are more solid than people give them credit for, honestly.
They are.
I mean, I like the Yale locks. Plus, I like the way that I like that I could share it, and the same thing with the Ring. I like that I can share the camera, and I like the way it lists out in my app. I don't like that I have to like this leg. I got to swipe through. And there's another thing too. I'll say, and maybe Hospitable fixed it. I don't know. But when I had a Schleg and I had somebody check in early, and I changed the time into the Schleg app earlier, Hospitable will always change it back. But when I do it with a Yale, they'll never change it back. It'll just stick with whatever I put in.
If you do it in Hospitable, it pushes to the lock.
I just do it in the app, on the lock app. I didn't know I could do it in Hospitable. Never tried it.
Top left, you go on the reservation. There's the check-in time. You can change it, and it pushes to the lock. What happened?
I never did that.
I know exactly what's happening because we had the same issue. We were changing it in the lock. Hospitable was overriding it.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
Yeah. So after a couple support tickets, they were like, change it in Hospitable. Hadn't had the issue since.
Didn't know you could do that. Yeah, I have the code generate like 3 hour or like, be ready 3 hours prior in case I do early check-in. It's not a problem most of the time. But I mean, I did have the one-offs where I have to change it to, earlier time.
Yep.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Change it in Hospitable. That'll fix that one.
See, we just learned something new, everybody. If you have Hospitable, change your check-in time. Didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Austin?
No.
You use Hospitable.
Used to, yeah.
Yeah, not anymore. I forgot. Yeah.
But
no, he's a baller now.
No, I don't think so. But I just wanted to check, like, so if you're managing, if you're at like, what did you say, around the 40 property mark, right? ish.
Yeah.
Let's just say that we'll put you in that category. So what does your team, what does an optimal team look like at that level? I guess how many VAs? It's you and your partner, right? And how are those responsibilities divided? I guess my main question is, what does your team look like at 40 property level?
Yeah, honestly, man, I am constantly auditing this. I wish I had a pre-canned answer that I truly believe in. I don't know. I'll tell you where we're at and what kind of we've learned. But it's always like, do we have enough staff? Are we overstaffed? So to give you an idea, we've got 3 full-time VAs. They work 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Those are dedicated to us. And then we have an overnight resource that's shared across multiple clients. That's mainly for like lockouts and, fires, parties, things like that. So
Wait. They work 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.?
not one person. So we do
Oh,
like
I was like, damn.
8 to 3 and then 3 to 11.
And
So
then you just rotate the other one.
yep. They work 6. So one person works 6 days a week, and then we just kind of stagger their schedule. So that was I would have hired VAs from day one, to be honest with you. We hired our first one at probably property 10 to 15. I would have done it from day one. So we just went from 2 to 3 not long ago. I think we're probably going to add another one very soon. So that's our remote team, 3 full-time VAs and a shared one. So 4, well, actually 5. We have a bookkeeper as well. I don't think I've ever met him, ever talked to him. So 5 VAs. My business partner, we both do this full-time. And then we have 2 full-time on-site people. They're W-2 salary, our area manager, and then our what we call a guest concierge. Area managers full-time, 5 days a week. Our guest concierge, same thing, full-time, 5 days a week. All that. They also stagger their schedules. I think we're probably going to have to hire another guest concierge, which is going to probably start as a 1099 and move to a W-2 employee. I think we're getting enough volume to where our team's a little overwhelmed. So we're gonna have to go out and find and train another one. What else?
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm at the same place as you, Austin. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was just gonna.
I want to know what their roles are, like what they do too. So
yeah, so that's
add
what I
it
was
to
gonna say.
Austin's question.
Yeah, we're connected there. I would say, what does the area manager do, and what does the guest concierge do? Like, what are their specific roles, and how does that like hone in on like how well you operate?
Yep. Guest concierge is like they're mainly inspecting units. They go after our cleaners. They make sure everything is good. They do level 1 troubleshoot, like level 1 maintenance, changing blinds, light filters, air filters, like just making sure the property's in good shape. Our area manager is kind of level 2. If they can't fix something, they escalate it to the area manager. And our area manager also deals directly with our clients. So if our client's like, hey, we like this morning we had our client we replaced a gas meter, and they were getting texts and calls. So they were calling James, the area manager, to make sure everything was scheduled at the property. So to kind of recap, guest concierge, like level 1 troubleshooter, anything they can't fix, it goes to the area manager. Area manager handles all of our clients and kind of a direct report to Riley and myself, my business partner.
I think, yeah, that's the level there. Like you're at, like that's so you can tell like you're at 40 properties because you go 1 to 10, right? Like essentially, when you're in that bucket, you're doing all of this yourself. You're on site more often. So that's like the thing I was getting at is breaking down that difference from like at 40 properties, you have to have these kind of boots on the ground and actual people in place to be able to do that. So that makes sense. Okay, so like to me, the guest concierge, I like the word, it's fancy, but I would say inspector, right?
Yep.
For the most part. And then area manager is more of like probably if the owners maybe had an issue or something, or they needed somebody on site more high level, then the area manager will step in, right?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Area manager today. Good example. We had a water pump go out. It was a well house, one of our lake properties. Water pump go out. Guest didn't have water. That's quickly goes from guest concierge to area manager. All right, call the guest. Don't have water. Let's relocate them to another property of ours. If they don't want to do that, full refund. take care of it. So that's an example there. And then the divisional labor between me and my business partner, I think this is probably really important that we took a long time to flush out. And it's still very fluid. So I'm more of the kind of the face of the brand. I handle the marketing, the sales, the inbound, making sure that we're getting leads in the door, closing deals, handling all that. He's more of the operations, the back end. He does not like social media. Doesn't really want to jump on sales calls. Very good at it, but also a better operator. So he's like in the background making shit happen, really. And he handles like bookkeeping and the maintenance side as well.
Yeah, I'm not wired like your guy, your partner. Oh, dude, it's a blessing that people like that exist because you need those kind of people. But I'm just not. I'm the polar opposite.
And usually there's a good book about it. I'm blanking on the name. They talk about like that one. There's a
Who Not How
E-Myth
Revisited.
That one. Both of them similar concepts, right? But it's more of like the front end versus the back end. Like who's the front end, who's the back end. Whenever we first started our business relationship, we literally listed out in a Google Doc. I could probably go find it right now, but like what I'm good at and what I want to do, what you're good at and what you want to do. It was almost perfect to where what I wanted to do, he did not want to touch. And what he wanted to do, I didn't want to touch. So thank God, or whatever you believe in, that it worked out that way. Because I think most businesses go into business with people that are like them, that want to do the same thing. I think you need to do the opposite. Go into business with somebody who hates the stuff that you like, and you hate the stuff that they like.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely couldn't agree more. Like you're just destined for failure if you have two of yourselves doing all of this stuff over here, and then this part of the business is neglected. So yeah, there's that perfect synergy of like they like this stuff, I like that stuff. So that's kind of what I was getting at, because what you said at the beginning of the podcast was you guys were both very data driven and this, that, and the other. So I was kind of putting you both into like very similar buckets. And then when you broke that down and explained like, hey, actually, in fact, I do like the sales and marketing side of it. He likes the back end operation side. So it just makes for that perfect relationship. So I think that's a good highlighted point of like people that want to partner with somebody. Like if you're going into a partnership, find somebody that does the opposite stuff as you, not just somebody that, you get along with.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could just record content all day and just be the face and just meet people. And dude, I would be the happiest kid alive. If I never had to talk to a guest or handle a work order, or like, oh my gosh, that just, I'm trying to distance myself more and more, which is every day is a new challenge. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, overall, just try and be super transparent with like what you like doing and what you don't like doing. It's a hard conversation, but it's better to have it in the beginning versus, years into it. I think you guys just met not long ago, right?
Yeah,
a year ago, right?
Almost a year ago now.
We got an anniversary.
About a year ago. Next month. Yeah, next month we're gonna have to go on a date, dude.
Yeah,
who's taking who out?
Send me a count.
Yeah, we split it.
Yeah, we'll split the bill. We did that the first date. We split.
Yeah, last time we went on a date, talking about what we're gonna call this fucking podcast, and then we figured it out.
How'd you wind up with co-host pros?
Yeah, and the craziest thing is people are actually listening to us. Dope. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know why they listen to us. That's crazy. I don't know. I think it's probably the personality that Austin has, I'm just here. They're just tired of hearing me cuss,
It's gotta be me, dude. It's gotta be me.
Yeah, it's totally you, dude. It's for sure you. Don't DM me and say it's me, because you should be DMing him and telling him it's me. But anyway, let's not get off the subject here, but we do have an anniversary, Austin, so around Valentine's Day, so it's real cutesy. Can't wait for that. So did you have a hard time hiring your concierge and your area manager, for one, and for two, if you don't mind me asking, and since you're pretty transparent, about what did you pay them? out of curiosity? And it
Yeah.
could be a roundabout. I don't, but I think people would want to know, like, what is it going to cost me to have somebody physically W-2 boots on the ground, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll share numbers. It doesn't really matter to me. To answer your first question, yes, hiring, man, I think hiring is one of the harder things to do in this business. It's like, I don't know if it's the lack of talent or something else, that this business is hard. Like, all you're dealing with is problems, right? You're dealing with pissed off guests, water leaks, like, pest issues, like lockouts. All you deal with is shit, like, to be very frank with you. So this industry is not for the faint of heart. Everybody's like, oh, is this passive income? I'm like, dude, this is the
baby, no.
furthest thing from passive income.
I love those videos.
Yeah, it's like if they're telling you that, they're about to sell you a course on the back.
Yeah, they don't have any Airbnbs, and they're gonna sell you their Airbnb course on how it could be passive.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
But it's and maybe, self transparent. Like, maybe I'm not the best at HR and, setting up job descriptions and all that. I think I'm a pretty good leader once we get people on the team, but the interview process, like, maybe I just suck at it. I don't know. But I was talking to Matt Stillman the other day. He was like, dude, I think that's the hardest thing in this business. Like, it really is attracting talent, training, and retaining them. I think those are the hardest things.
That's every business, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I could go on a tangent of that. But to answer your second question, Matt, is our guest concierge makes 45 salary, and then we've got a revenue share bonus program that I can get into. Our area manager makes 55 grand. We have a revenue management that we split. It's maybe 10% of company revenue that we put in this pool. And depending on how many like inspections they do, there's a calculation that we do, but that probably adds another 5 to 10 grand to their salary. So probably 55 to 65 for both of them. Me and my business partner, full disclosure, we made dirt money for the first couple years. We just started, maybe in the past year, like paying ourselves a livable wage. So, we were stockpiling cash. Like, we were not draining the business. We were just keeping it all in the bank account. So now, luckily, we've kind of made it through I would say, the hardest part of growing a business. But right now our salary is pretty reasonable for like what we do. Obviously on paper, it's much more than our salary, but I would rather keep money in the bank. My accountant's like, dude, you're going to pay a ton of tax. Like, find some expenses. I'm like, I think I would rather just keep it in the bank account and invest it into something else, like this dev project, this piece of software that we're building, maybe hiring another guest concierge down the road. So I think the hardest part about business is like, first you need to make money. Secondly is you need to keep it. And then where do you really spend the money when you have the opportunities?
Yeah. I think that first, like, 1 to 10 properties where you're DIYing it, you're like making more money, but you're doing everything. So you essentially what I did was replace my job with another job with way more responsibilities and accounting and all the stuff on the back end. And then, like, if you're trying to get to the next level, then it's like, okay, that's when you have to spend the money and pay everyone else and not really pay yourself at all. And then that's that awkward period. And it seems like you're on the transition of breaking through that to where you're a real profitable business, paying yourself salaries and stuff like that. So,
you're 100% right.
So my point is like, if it depends on like where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do, because if you want to build, you can replace your income very easy. I know people with 10 properties that all do over 150,000, and that's all they need to do. And, there's the component of like, yes, clients will leave and you can add a few more, but you can consistently just be that boutique manager and not have to deal with that. Or if you really want to scale and build a business, you do exactly what you did. But another point that I wanted to highlight was like, I like what you said about hiring a VA as soon as you start. I think that's good advice. I didn't do it until
I was thinking
eight or 10 properties. But what is they're not even expensive in the first place. But another thing is like if like you're like Matt, if you have your W-2 job, like then in my opinion, like Matt should hire a VA ASAP, right? Because you still have income coming in over here. So you're like, okay, let
I'm
me
working
start
on it.
now with this
I'm working
first
on it.
property. No, you're going to do it. But the thing is like you get that VA and then just have them to start to do as much as you possibly can. So then you scale and they train with you instead of like being like, hey, here's 10 properties. Let me figure out how to do a VA now. So I don't know. I think
You know
that
what I did yesterday, Austin?
come on.
I spent all day creating SOPs and making videos.
Let's
There you go.
go.
So I'm a little busy doing things like that, sir.
Okay.
So I
No, no,
will,
I
but
was
I want to hire a VA. I don't want to fucking talk to them. Like they
right.
fucking need to be able to do their job. You know what I'm saying? Like
That is not
I
the
want
case.
I
That you're going to
I
be
know it's
talking
not
to
the
them
case. I mean,
every day.
I get it, but that's okay. My wife can deal with that part. She's good with SOPs. I wrote the SOPs and I said, here, start making them look good.
And I'm
You
worse.
know?
I'm worse than you. Like what I always did when I hired my VA, I would just get him on a Zoom call, tell him what to do, and I would just say, "All right, this is very irresponsible, right? But that's just whatever." I was like, "Hey, figure it out, and then write the SOP for me. But here's like what you kind of do: like do this, and when you're going to make a mistake, but." I don't know, like you're going to learn better if you make the mistake anyway. So I'm like, let's just rip the band-aid off, go make a mistake. Then when you get really good at it, now you make the SOP and you follow it. And I don't know. It worked out fine
Yeah.
for me, but people would say that might be
You
not
got
the
a
best
really
route to
smart
go.
VA. You got lucky. He hired a really good VA because I trained her on how to like upload podcast episodes and all kinds of
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
And
Oh
she's
no, dude.
super sharp. So like, because Austin he cheats on me on another podcast, and a lot of people don't know that. But
No,
I
we
haven't
can't. We
seen him
can't.
posting lately, so seems like it's winding down.
It didn't.
They're
We
breaking
didn't
up.
make it. It's discontinued, man. Don't worry, I'm back. I was
Is
just
it?
trying it. I just was, trying it
You've
out
been
a
there
little
4 or
bit,
5
and then I
years.
realized what I had at home was good, so I have to be loyal to Matt. So don't. I strayed, but I'm back
Hey, and,
now.
and,
No, so
I, and I
don't
made
worry.
some money too because I set it all up for him and he paid me, so it worked out for me, I guess. Start another podcast, Austin. I could help you.
No,
So fun
no,
said.
no, man. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Oh
No, you're
man, that's
right.
great.
Also, like exactly. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, dude. Like I think I was at maybe 10, 15 when the first VA, and I didn't even know what a SOP was. I couldn't spell SOP. Now we literally have a database. We probably have 200 SOPs of how to do everything. It started. I think first step, Matt. I don't know if maybe you could learn from this. Maybe the audience member wants to add a VA. I think probably the first step is what I did. If I had to do it again, was create a Loom video of you just button clicking. Okay, here's why I'm doing this, talking through it. It's going to be long. It's going to be like 10 minutes and it's going to be terrible to watch. And what I would do is like, hey, here's the Loom video. Write the SOP for me while you're watching the Loom video. And then once they do it probably 3 times, they should be able to do it from start to finish. You're going to have a ton of questions. Matt, you're probably going to get a ton of Slack messages like, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? But now, like, we're to a point where I probably haven't updated a SOP in months because when we update policy, our VAs like know the policy probably better than I do. There's things where I'm like, wait, how do we do this? I haven't submitted an alteration in 2 years. Like how? And I'll literally go to our SOP and read it because I don't do that anymore. But I was doing all the alterations myself at the beginning. So to recap, I would film a Loom video of you doing it, have the VA watch it 3 times and document the steps and organize it, and then have them update it moving forward when policies change or when Airbnb changes their user interface every 6 months.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was doing yesterday. Is I was basically I'm working on my onboarding to streamline it, make it faster. It just takes so long. So I was doing a onboarding SOP and purchase documents of what you're to purchase and things like that. And I also made a bunch of videos. I didn't use Loom. I actually used Screencastify. You can hook it onto your Google Chrome and put it as a plugin or whatever extension. I just click the button, boom, it's done. And it's really easy to do. So yeah, so I was doing things like that. Like I even went down to the nitty gritty, like this is how you create a folder in Google Drive. Like you right click and then you know. So yeah, I understand that people need to be babied. I've trained like probably thousands of employees. I just don't want to train employees. I don't even like doing it. But you know, it is what it is, right? So we'll get to that point. But I think what you're doing is crazy, and I know we're short on time, but we could probably do this all day long, and everybody would probably love it, you know. And then they would DM Austin and tell him how great he is. But so, what is your goal, man? Like, what your hands are in so much shit. Like, what is the end goal here? Like you have like I feel like you got a bunch of sticks with plates on it and shit, and you're over here like you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the end goal. So like in the beginning, me and my business partner were like, we're gonna try and scale through this. Like the goal was never to be like a 10 to 15 property management company and us do everything. It was always like, how do we build a machine to? I honestly think maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll probably sell this thing. We've talked about that from day one. We've actually talked to some like private equity companies that handle some of this. Not something we're going to do anytime soon. Like, I don't know, 5-10 years, maybe. I think long term, probably sell it, you know, to who knows, maybe another operator. We're in talks of potentially buying another management company that's got like 20 units as well. So it could go multiple ways. I think that's probably the end goal. Well, let me take that back. From a business standpoint, an end goal personally is own 10 Airbnbs and never have to work a day in my life. That's the end goal. That's always been the end goal for me and my business partner, is to add to the portfolio. And short-term rentals is just the way that we've been doing it. My dad comes from a long-term rental. He owns like 15-ish long-term rentals. And I knew rentals was going to be something in my future, but I didn't know it was going to be Airbnb until, you know, a couple of years ago. I knew real estate was the easiest way to wealth. I just didn't really know how I was going to get there. So that's always been the goal business wise. And then personally is to add the portfolio.
Yeah.
I think we're similar on that.
Yeah. I think you could probably buy 5 short-term rentals if you buy them well and be fine. I think you could probably pull in 75 to 100 a year and really never have to work in your life. I think with 5 well operating properties.
Yeah, I think you're on the right path there. Like just build the machine out, and then you never know. In 5 years, you might be paying yourself this fat 6-figure salary and still being able to run a machine and still own the asset of owning a business. And then you may not want to sell, or if that day comes, whatever happens, you're like, okay, well, I can cash out at this point. So I think the farther you go down the road, the more, you know, options you're gonna have.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I want the machine to pay for the asset. That's what I want. I don't want to rent out my own vacation home if I don't have to. I'd rather just be able to stay whenever I want to stay a couple months at a time, you know, go somewhere else. And
I mean, that's
not have to have somebody sleep in my bed, right?
Yeah, that's 100% possible. Yeah,
for sure.
Well, cool.
Wow.
Anything else you can help your audience with? Questions that you guys might have selfishly?
Austin has lots of selfish questions usually. You got any selfish questions, Austin?
All of my questions are all selfish. It's all about what I'd like to know, so I ask them. But a lot of people are thinking the same thing as me. I'd like to think so, but that's where my questions come from.
Me. Actually, I didn't touch on it earlier, and I wanted to, because when you were talking about we had Ryan Leak on our podcast a couple days ago, and you had a good point, and he had the same point when you were saying that, you know, people ask realtors, the next question they ask them is like, do you know anybody who can manage my property? And the way that Ryan scaled is Ryan went into real estate offices and brought cookies and explained to them what he did, and he'd run performance for them. And I feel like that's really a good way for people to get deals in the vacation market. And I think that you kind of just solidified that with what you said.
Yeah.
but I meant to say that earlier. Then we got sidetracked talking about how cool Austin is.
And honestly, as I'm like thinking back, Austin's like, yeah.
He's laughing. He gets red every time. That's why I say it. It's cute. It's gonna be cute on the date later. No, everybody, we're just joking around. We're not like that.
Hey, you never know.
I mean, nowadays it's okay. We can do what we want, but hey,
Yeah.
I'm a cat.
Thinking back to my first probably 5 deals, 5 management clients, I would go to like every networking event. That was just like, I would grind, I would hustle, like, work all day at my corporate IT job and then networking from 6 to 8 p.m. If I was starting out from brand new again, my target would be realtors, like talk to realtors. We all know realtors don't really know short-term rentals. But I guarantee they already have a Rolodex of investors that want to get into this new sexy Airbnb investment because they can make a lot, and you can for sure. So I would just network with realtors. Like, I think I would probably say, let's think about this. I've never really quantified it, but I would say maybe 60% of our management clients came from realtors, like to this day. Just realtors where we would run pro formas. Like, okay, yep, you have an investor wanting to do this. Like, all right, let me underwrite it for free, send it to you, you present it to the client. That is probably the easiest way to get new deals right now.
Yeah. Yep. I took a management job for a broker guy in his house. I know his house wasn't going to make that much, but I took the job in hopes that, when he's or a loan guy, when he's like the VP of loans or something. So when he starts making those loans for people, maybe he'll be like, oh yeah, and I know a guy who can help you with this. So I think that'll be great. So, thanks for coming, Caleb. Just tell everybody where to find you. Let everybody know what my Tripify is. Did I say that right?
Nailed it.
And just nailed it. And then, we'll wrap it up.
I mean, for me, probably Instagram's where I hang out the most, at Caleb W. Shore. My Tripify, MyTripify.com. All the socials are the same. Probably Instagram's the best place to contact me. Hopefully, if I've been doing my job well, you just Google Caleb Shore, I'll come right up to the top.
Well, let's test that real quick before Austin lets us out. Just because I want the listeners to know, we got to make sure. I gotta make sure you guys know we don't put people on here full of shit. So.
There's an actor that has an IMDb page with the same name. I've been freaking hounding him.
He showed up.
Yeah, it's hard to outrank IMDb. It really is. I should be number 2.
He showed up in my Google search, but you are number 2 in Instagram. Yeah. So, but actually, when you type in on Google, you type in the name, and then like it shows a picture of the actor or whatnot. It shows just blank Caleb Shore first before it shows. So I'd say that's you too. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there. I mean, this guy is not nearly as handsome, and he does not have a beard. So, we're gonna have to let him out. But so thanks again for coming. It was a great time. I'm gonna let Austin just let us out like he always does, and we'll go planning our date.
All righty. Peace.
Appreciate it, fellas. Have a good one.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the show. We just want to say thank you. And if you get an opportunity to rate us on your favorite podcast platform, that would be awesome. Also, if you have another chance, just give us a follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, pretty much everywhere you can find us. I really appreciate y'all listening. If you have questions, please hit us up, info@cohostbros.com, or just shoot me a DM, shoot Austin a DM, and we'll get your questions on the show. If you want to be on the show, hit us up, info@cohostbros.com. Thanks again for listening, and please just leave us a review. Thanks, everybody.
The Co-Host Bros Podcast.